Here is something interesting to check out, especially if you like anime style graphics. This is a sponsored video for the game Nitrogen Omega, a sandbox tactical turn-based RPG done in an interesting anime style. Nitrogen Omega is launching in early access on June 17th, and the plan is to gather as much feedback as possible from the players to make the game the best version of itself. Early access duration could be from 3 months to a year. Multiplayer is also planned for the full release. Link to Steam page is in the description. Story of the game is that humanity has lost the war against the machines. Machines have taken over and the end is drawing near. Last remnants of humanity are on the top of giant pillars that work as havens where the resistance tries to survive before the end inevitably comes. It's going to be interesting if the story is going to expand on this premise over time, because there are many possibilities to create lore based on the past, like the story of how machines took over. Game starts with the generation of the first mech crew. It's like creating your own anime protagonists. The way characters look fits the setting and the art style. Then we are thrown into the sandbox world with the first city giving us tasks and introducing the game's systems. It's a relatively straightforward game that focuses on managing the mech crew when not fighting. Character progression system is connected to attributes, traits and personalities. Attributes are leveled through use in battle. Mech has 4 stations: pilot, engineer, gunner and operator. Anyone can occupy each slot, but the skills leveled in fights are the ones from the manned station. Crew also gets hurt in fights, which means it would be the best that they take a rest for a fight or two to recover, which means that others need to step up. There are many more aspects in managing the crew. Morale is an important factor. High morale can lead to combat-changing plays like critical hits, instinct guard and many other things that can turn the tide in the player's favor. Or if the morale is low, then bad things happen, like mental breakdowns that prevent the crew from acting at all. One of the worst occurrences for me was when one of the crew members got gravely wounded during a nasty fight, and then the other member got a full-blown breakdown. Couldn't act at all afterwards, which left me with 2 out of 4 stations active. Very difficult to fight that way. Relationships are a factor as well. We can use many activities to boost relationships between characters. Positive relationships trigger positive random events and vice versa. Crew is flying in an airship with the mech inside and many facilities that can be used to boost the crew. To improve relationships and morale, we have team activities like boxing and yoga. Individual activities like playing bass and weightlifting. On top of all that, there are additional floors where crew can play video games both in cities and read books that improve their attributes. Cooking is also included. Mech can be modified in many ways too. After getting to a city that sells paint, all parts can be repainted. Mech also consists of many important parts like the core, legs, arms, shoulders, engine that affect stats and combat abilities. New abilities are progressively unlocked with better gear. Every upgrade matters, but to get the upgrades we have to complete contracts, which means fighting. Combat is proper tactical turn-based action with a really interesting presentation. Presentation surprised me the most at first. It's all very nicely animated. Attacks and hit reactions, combat start preparation when everyone is getting into position, non-attack actions like reloading missiles, scanning, plenty to like here. Every turn is divided into segments, and each segment can be an action, but it can also end up being empty. Preparation phase means putting the actions into segments. Players and enemies act sequentially, so without placing an action of our own, we can't know what the enemy is going to do. This creates a nice tactical conundrum as to what to play next. Number of enemy actions can vary, some can play 3 times in a turn, while most go 2 times from what I've seen. Combat is done on a battlefield divided into 4 zones. Pilot can use its action to move to a different zone. Pilots can also slap other mechs in melee and guard against attacks. Moving from zone to zone is another great tactical element as it can drastically change the outcome of the battle. Some enemy mechs like Hare and Rabbit operate better from range, while Wolf, Troll and Goblin are melee focused mechs, so positioning our mech properly is important. What I particularly like are different movement patterns enemies can do. Wolf and Goblin are faster than Troll, so they can move directly into the zone where the player is. Troll needs 2 movements in order to get to the player, but when it gets to you, it's danger. So by utilizing movement, we can stay relatively safe. Though what if there is another enemy, like in this case? Then all hell breaks loose and only tactical brilliance can get you out. Another tactical aspect is delayed attacks. For example, there is the fire missile option that lands after 2 segments where the enemy is located. If the enemy moves into your zone in the meantime, then the homing missile is going to land on you and the enemy, dealing damage to both. Or grenade attack, where a grenade is fired into a zone where it remains for a couple of segments until it explodes. So movement plays a big factor. Overall, combat is well done, and there's plenty of things to consider, and on top of that there's the crew itself that brings their own traits, personalities and attributes into the mix. Right now I'm in the live gameplay section. At this point I have lost a very nasty fight, and my crew is not ready completely to fight another time. As you can see, I will now check the crew screen and there's going to be a bunch of information about the status of my crewmates. Some of them are healthy, while some of them are gravely wounded. Gravely wounded crew members cannot fight. In order to fix that, we need to take them to a hospital or to trauma. One of the cities called Motorhold has that type of facility. Unfortunately, I don't have enough money to sort that out. So instead, I will now switch the loadout for my mech and then put proper crew members in proper position to make the most out of the next fight, so that I can get some money based off the contract that I picked up in another city, and then heal my team by going back to Motorhold and visiting the trauma. At this point, this is my crew and they should do the job. We have a contract that has 2 stars, meaning that's the difficulty. There's a difficulty setting. Each contract has stars and this one has 2 stars. I've already finished most 1-star contracts, so the game won't allow me anymore to play such easy contracts, at this point at least. Maybe they will become available later. As you can see, this is the world this is the sandbox world that I was talking about earlier, and we are now freely going through it. In the top left corner there's supplies. First number 20 at the moment is the money. That's the thing I need in order to fix my gravely wounded teammates. Another thing is I think that's called supplies in general. The second thing that says 586, that's used to fix the mech after the fight. And the third one is the fuel. We can refuel at any of the cities. Now at this point it is the location of my contract, and now I can fight the enemies. Enemies here are 3 hares or rabbits, not sure which one of those will be. Now this is the first time I'm fighting 3 enemies at once, so it's going to be quite an interesting experience. And we are going to do it properly. Thankfully, hares and rabbits are not that good in melee. So I can exploit that, I can move towards them, but they can also attack twice during one turn. So that's 6 attacks per turn, which can be problematic. So I have to plan this carefully. As you can see, the segment, we have 6 segments, and we now know that there's going to be a couple of attacks already and when they are going to occur. Now, in order for me to bait the next action, as you can see, there's one more action next to Rabbit's name. You can see that on the lower right portion of the screen. I will now put an engineer order called Deploy Healing Gel. I'm going to take some damage, it's inevitable. And I'm going to put this order at the end of at the last segment, because that makes the most sense after I've taken all the damage. This is also going to reveal their next action. Now I can see what the enemy is going to do completely. They are done with their actions. Now there are a couple of things we can do here. I can go for the operator and put Deploy Smokes. Deploy Smokes is going to increase my evasion for 3 segments. So now I just need to position it properly to protect myself from the incoming ranged attacks. Rabbits and hares are ranged enemies, so they will attack a lot from range. By deploying smokes, I will increase my evasion. And now I can use Gunner to fire missiles into the zone where 2 hares or rabbits are. In this case, rabbits. Hare is another enemy type. So I will now put this on down, and then after the 2 segments, the missile is going to land, damaging both rabbits that are in the zone. Now for this next section, I need to choose carefully. Well, see, I didn't do this well enough because I should have done this. I should have guarded against one of these attacks. That would decrease the damage. So, but I will guard against this one particular attack. I should have put it in the first segment to guard against 2 attacks instead of the second segment where I'm going to be attacked just once. So anyway, we can now begin the resolution and see what's going to happen. Ooh, I've landed a critical hit. That's nice. Critical hits are random occurrences based on the morale and the team and the relationships and all of that. So I've landed a critical hit and killed 2 enemies at once with the fire missile option. Now the enemy has done a special move. I don't know what that special move is. I mean, I think I do know, I have fought them before. I think they're going to do a grenade, but I'm going to show you how to scan for the attacks to know what's coming. As you can see, operator has the scan option, and I can now scan the segment where the special attack is coming from. Oh, it's just going to do reload bullets. It was a waste of a scan, but it's fine. Now, instead of that, I can just do something like this. Order. Move to the zone where the enemy is. I can also deploy healing gel at the end, but I really don't need it. I'm going to deploy coolant that reduces heat. This is very important because you can see next to health points 25 out of 25 there's another number, it says 3 out of 14. That number indicates the amount of heat currently that the mech has received. More heat, less effective the mech is going to be. So we need to reduce heat, which I'm going to do by doing the order. Although I really don't need to do that because we are going to kill the enemy either way before we get overheated. But still. There we go, let's begin the resolution. Now we're going to move into the zone. Thing is that driver can move to zone, guard and slap, but I can't move to zone and slap at the same turn, in the same turn. So I have to wait the next turn to slap the enemy. At this point, the fight is over. We can just slap the enemy to kill it completely. It has one more move, but it can't get away from me. So it doesn't matter what I do with orders at this point. Let's just put orders here down so that we are done with it. There we go, victory. Easy victory mostly thanks to the critical hit of the fire missile attack. And now the crew is leveling up. One of the crewmates leveled in driving, if I'm not mistaken, which is really good. Because that can unlock trade slots. There we go, we have unlocked the skill. Power grid management. The mech has 25 more energy. The pilot must be in the engineer role for the skill to take effect. Awesome. Alright, now we have some money. We will have some money after I get back to the city that issued the contract. And they will then pay me, of course, for that contract, which I can, the money that I can then use to heal my teammates. There we go. And we also got activity tokens. I'm going to show you now how activity tokens are gained after fights. And we can use activity tokens for characters to bond and to overall increase their morale, which is quite important. Since the last one on the list is the latest recruit, of course it doesn't have good relationship with others, so that's something I have to fix. That one is gravely wounded, so I can't really do anything with him. This is the positive event that also increases morale and relationship. These events occur depending on the status of the crew, meaning there's more chance for positive events to take place if the morale is high and crew is in good relations. Alright, now let's get back to the map and let's find the city that can finally heal my gravely wounded teammates. Sometimes it can be difficult to navigate through the world trying to find a specific city, so I think that world map would be a really useful addition to the game. Thankfully the game is launching in early access, so there's plenty room for improvement. But the base is solid. This is the gameplay loop that the game essentially has. We are now in the trauma center and now I can finally help my gravely wounded teammates that are now fine to fight again. Awesome. Now, but they have been upgraded from gravely wounded to wounded. After that we just need to get some rest, which means don't take them to fights for a fight or two. Essentially, that's all there is to Nitrogen Omega. The game is releasing in early access, so check it out. Link is in the description. Thank you for watching and thanks to publisher for sponsoring this video.